Hello and welcome. Today what we're here to do is show you how to create a course that is going to deliver a tracking form to your clients on a routine basis so that they can track things that are important to their coaching relationship. Either it's good practices or measurables that they're working on in coaching with you, or even the formation of good habits. And so to do that, there really is a three-step process. The first is to create the course itself. That's basically sort of your skeleton, your engine for routine delivery of the tracking worksheet itself, as well as setting in motion those metrics that are going to be tracked. The second is to design the tracking form itself, and that's really down to your style, where it's a matter of whatever sort of things you want your coachees to be tracking and what sort of things are meaningful for them to be working on and measuring on a routine basis. That's what's going to go in there. And then third, we'll build the course itself, and that is sort of stitching in the worksheet that is for tracking to be going out to your clients on a routine basis, as well as setting in motion those metrics so that it all gets set up with a quick click. So let's get right to it. Our first step is to create the course, and to do that, we're going to go to our Courses tab and click the plus course button. We'll give it a name like Routine Tracking. We'll give it a duration. Let's say it's a 6-week program, so that's going to be 42 days. We definitely want it to be days and not steps. Steps is a matter of self-paced. As they work through things, they get the next assignment. This is day-based, which is married to the calendar and a tight schedule that's very time-based. Item delivery, we're going to make the delivery in the course participant's time zone. That's really nice because maybe you have a routine where every day your clients get at 5 o'clock their prompt to track things, and they got to do it by midnight. And this way, by making it in the participant's time zone, no matter where in the world they are, it's going to work for them in their schedule. And then for visibility, we're going to keep this hidden because it's a course that's really more of an engine of automation rather than some sort of like neat course and timeline and schedule for them to be able to look at and work through. So they don't even need to know that they're in a course. They're just going to get a worksheet automatically, and our course is the way that that's going to happen. So we'll leave that as is and hit create. And here we have it. There's a blank timeline of 42 days, and there's nothing on here yet because we haven't actually built it out. But that's step one. We have now created our course, this sort of holding place for our materials of a metrics that gets set in motion and a routine worksheet. Now let's move on to step two, which is to design that worksheet, to design that tracking form. To do that, we'll go back to Home and then Library. And in our worksheet templates, we'll click the plus worksheet template button. And so we'll give it a title. I'll call it Daily Tracker. You might give it something a little more clever, a little more tailored to your style, but that'll work as a pretty utilitarian one for our purposes here today. I'm going to paste in a little bit of a preamble, so no one wants to watch me type that much from that I've done before. It's a sort of a little hello, and I use the magic tag here that can insert the client first name, a little bit of personalization, and a little note, please take a moment to track your good habits for today. So pretend we're, in our example, working on sort of a course where we're guiding clients to have good habits of work-life balance, to avoid burnout, to do their best work, to have quality of life really be present amid the usual humdrum of professional life. So we're going to do some sort of generic and yet very powerful things that are worth tracking and measuring to sort of nudge people in the right direction to get those good habits and to have good scores that really translate into life lived well. So one of them I'm going to do is sort of a classic one. How many hours of sleep did you get last night? So I'll type that up. And I'll put in here a form input for where they can type that number in. And to do that, we just go up to this button here, Insert Form Item. It's going to be a simple text, a one-liner where they can type something. We're just going to make it 10%, pretty narrow. It's probably going to be one character, like a 6. Font size normal, placeholder no, validation. Well, we do going to validation, not just something typed in, but it better be a number. We'll skip the whole number because they might do something like 6.5, and that would be valid as well. And then validation message, that's fine. I could give it a little more flavor. And then name this. Yes, we want to use this name because whatever they type here is something that we're going to actually pipe into their metrics and have as sort of like a data point that is useful and meaningful for tracking later. So we're going to say yes. I want to use this answer as a named data field, and we'll say hours of sleep. And what the system does is sort of translate what I typed into a single symbol, like a one-worder thing, and that's sort of to do with the underlying mechanics. We'll take that and then we'll hit insert and then we're good. And now what's really nice about metrics is that they track not only numbers over time, but comments that can be appended to them, which sort of give the story behind the numbers, a little bit of explanation as to what's going on or what's working or what's not, or what causes a given number on a given day. So we want to be able to let our clients insert a comment about that number that we're collecting. And here it's numbers asleep, so let's make a comment field for it. Once again, we're going to go up here and insert a form item. And again, simple text, we'll make it 100% of the width. Placeholder, let's say this is optional comment, so we'll just type optional comment. And then validation, none, whatever is fine, because it truly is optional. And then name this. Oh, here we go. This is meant to be a comment on hours of sleep. That's what we want it to be, so that when someone types a number, whatever they type in the hours of sleep input above, whatever they type here will be registered as a comment for that number when it gets piped into the metric itself. So that we have pretty graphs that not only tell the story of up and down against the target, but also the comments behind it. So that's that. That's our tracking of hours of sleep in our daily tracker thing. Let's do 2 more to give us a few more examples, but we'll go a little more quickly as we go. Say another good habit we want to instill in our clients is to get a walk in every day. So we'll just say like minutes of walking. And again, we'll just add an input. Again, sort of a narrow one, and got to be a number, probably a whole number, probably definitely a positive number. That's good. And then, yep, we'll give this a name as well, minutes of walking. And again, it changes to a symbol, and there we go. And then same thing, we want to be able to let people make a comment on that. So we'll add another simple text, optional comment. Everything is fine, meant to be a comment in minutes of walking, perfect. Insert that. Okay, now they can track 2 things in the process of filling out this worksheet. Let's do one more that's just a little different. Say we want to practice of encouraging them to meditate twice a day, maybe in the morning and the afternoon. So we'll call this meditation breaks. We'll just type this here as a little prompt. And instead of a simple input, we're going to make 2 checkboxes. And we'll say morning, afternoon. And we'll make these 30%, and we'll see why in a second. And then validation, no, it's fine. They don't need to check anything. They might have a day where they skip and don't do either of these. And then yes, we do want to name this, and we'll call it meditations done. All right, we'll insert that, and there we go. Mornings and afternoons, that looks pretty. And again, we'll give a comment field. One thing that we can do also is just we can go to a different comment and like click this button here to clone it. As this is, it's copied, we can paste it elsewhere, and so we'll then paste it. And then we got to just tweak it a little bit to say this is meant to be a comment on not hours of sleep, but meditation's done. There we go. Okay, that's nice. And so we'll just add a few spaces to make that slightly prettier. And there we go. That's a nice little tidy form. Let me just put a little line break here and just say a little love note saying, hey, good job, thanks for doing it. You know, we'll get back to you tomorrow, something like that. Give it a little personality. So there we have it. I'm going to hit save, and that is our daily tracker form, and that is what we're going to deliver to our clients once a day for them to very quickly fill out and sort of track some meaningful data about their habits, their patterns, what they're doing, which is going to give insight into our coaching elsewhere and guide them towards those good habits. Okay, so that's our tracker form. So now we're ready to move on to the 3rd step, which is to actually go back to our course and weave this daily tracker worksheet into the course delivery for daily dispatch. So we go back to the home in our courses. We see our routine tracking. Oh, looks like the system generated a nice little thumbnail for us, one of the random ones. This isn't really a financial course, so we're going to just have it generate a different one and actually pick it. Let's see, this one looks pretty good. Plant, just want to do with growth, like growing good habits, something like that. But you could also, of course, upload your own. And that'll do with that. So now we're back on our timeline. It again is blank. We haven't done anything yet. So let's actually put something there. We're now ready to put our worksheet onto it. So we'll just drag it right onto day 1. And then we're going to not start with blank. We can actually just pick our daily tracker. And that is the one we just created. We're going to keep it linked to the template. What that means is if we ever change our template, maybe we add some things, change up some things, remove some things, the act of editing it there back in the library will have it automatically propagate back here to all the course items that are going to go out to our clients. So we'll keep that linked. We'll assign it. Maybe we have a practice of assigning it towards the end of the day when these things can be kind of knowable. Say 5 o'clock. Let's say it's due the exact same day, so 0 days later. And then give them a little time, maybe something hopefully before a reasonable bedtime of 10 p.m. We'll send a notification of this worksheet. We got a default message here, but we'll change it up a little bit for the context of what we're doing. Dear client, I've assigned you a worksheet. Let's say something like that. And then we'll just get rid of this, and then we'll make the login link. Basically, this login link is sort of magic properties. When it's clicked by your client, it automatically logs them in and brings them into the worksheets and loads up the worksheet at hand, front and center, easy as could possibly be for them to actually fill it out. No fuss, no muss. We remove all the friction. In this, there's a little trick here. We can do : and then actually give it some text. Instead of it being a gnarly URL that does all that magic, we can have showing text of something like, okay, let's go. So that's what they'll see in the email, and they can click it, and that'll get them right to their thing. So that looks pretty good for our notification message, and we'll hit save, and we're good. So now we have it that on day 1 at 5 o'clock, they're going to get their daily tracker. But what about all the other days of the program? We want them to track it every day for all 6 weeks. So let's make that happen, and we can do so easily by clicking this little clone icon to clone it. We're going to copy the worksheet and place it where we want it to be for tomorrow as well, 1 day later on the timeline, and then do this multiple times. Perform the cloning, let's see, about 42 or 41 ought to do it. And we'll just clone it all up, and here we go. Like magic, our whole timeline of delivering this at 5 p.m. every day gets filled out for the other 41 days of the course, and that's the worksheet component. There's some fun things we can do with this. If we have a change of heart, maybe we want to realize like, oh wait, this would be better to go out at 6 o'clock. We just go to the first item, hit edit, and change that dispatch date, and hit save, and then the system does a little catch. It notices like, hey, there's a bunch of others that are just like it. Would you like to update that time there as well? And just by clicking, ooh, yes, please, it'll do that, and then that's done. If we have a change of heart of some other things, like maybe we want to change up the message, or, oh, geez, we forgot to add reminders. So maybe we'll add some reminders here. Let's see, 1 day before, that doesn't make sense, but 1 hour before would be good. And maybe 20 minutes before via text. Really help them to remember to do that. Okay, now we got some nice reminders. We like that. We hit save, and we can see here that, yeah, as the night goes on, they'll get some reminders to make sure, really hedge and make sure that they know to do it and have a convenient way to do it. Either, again, the reminder via the email or the text will again put them 1 click or 1 tap away from getting right in and working on their worksheet. Also, rest assured that if they finish their daily tracker prior to these times, they will not get any extraneous reminders. Okay, so we like those reminders, and say we want to propagate them through to the other ones. So we can handle that by simply going to our next one that's not quite the way we want it, hit the delete button to get rid of it, and then the system happily notices, hey, there's 40 others just like it. Would you like to get rid of those too? We can again quickly do that, and then suddenly the coast is clear to once again do our cloning down the line to get it exactly as we would like it for all 42 days. And there we go. Okay, with that now handled, the time is right to create our metrics. Remember, this course is not only to deliver a worksheet that will prompt our clients to sort of fill in their daily check-in, but it also is to set in motion the standard metrics that they're going to be tracking during this whole tracking regimen itself, so that the act of filling out these worksheets actually has the effect of creating some pretty graphs that really show the trends and tell the story. So let's do that by adding metrics to our timeline. We're going to put them also on day 1, basically saying at day 1, we're going to set in motion all these good things as a one-time setup. So we drag our metric over onto the day, and let's see, we're going to do our first one, which is hours of sleep. So we'll just type a suitable title. Create it at the same time, that's good. The unit of measure is hours, meaning when someone reports a 7, that means 7 hours. Duration, 42 days. The system, there's a fun fact, the system automatically guesses what would be a suitable duration when you add a metric to day 1. 42, yep, exactly, we want to go the duration of this course. Frequency, we'll track it actually on an arbitrary basis. We don't want to necessarily have the system prompting our clients to track on a given day or weekday or weekend. We're going to have it fill in by virtue of the worksheet that goes out on a regular basis. Data entry, regular, we're not looking for a running total, we just want to see how many hours did you get last night. We'll do a target, and this is a nice way to sort of set the dividing line between good and evil. Let's say 6 is where we're looking for, and at the beginning of the metric and 6 weeks later, that is going to be the dividing line. If we're above 6, okay, we'll call that in the green. If we're below 6, we're in the red. Maybe we're trying to encourage better sleeping, so maybe it's like 7. We'll not automatically mark the 7 as the starting value. Display options, here we can kind of tweak and give a little, the system will usually figure out how to scale the y-axis, but let's always say that it's always going to show on a 0 to 9 hours on the axis, and if someone does sleep 10, it'll auto size for that. And then reminders, we'll turn these off, we'll keep these off because we don't need to prompt our clients to fill in this worksheet, this metric, because the worksheet will be the prompt, and the filling out of the worksheet is what's going to have this be reported. Similarly, visibility, we'll share it with clients. If we feel so inclined, we could prevent them from modifying or deleting this metric. That's really up to your style. And no need to send a metric because, again, this is all going to kind of go out with the worksheet. And we don't need to say, like, hey, you're starting a new metric. That's going to be kind of part and parcel with being in the program itself. So let's save that. And now we've got our worksheet. Actually, there's one key piece that I forgot, and let's go back to edit, and it's this one right here, pipe data into this metric from a worksheet. Now that's that key idea where the act of filling out the worksheet is what makes the metric itself get filled out. So we'll click this and say pipe worksheet values for, and then we have our named inputs that we made when we were designing our worksheet. And indeed, we want it to be hours of sleep. When they fill out hours of sleep, that goes in here, and that's also going to do the comment thing because we added the comment form input here. So great, we're piping in from hours of sleep, and we'll hit save. Now that is truly done. Now let's do two more for the other two things. We can see here we got minutes of walking and meditation breaks. Let's make suitable metrics for those as well. Yeah, there's an entire video on how to all the nuances and ins and outs of setting up metrics, so I'm going to go a little bit fast with these. But you get the gist. Again, duration 42 days, arbitrary basis, regular, pipe them in, minutes of walking, that's our input from the form, great. Target, maybe again, we're trying to encourage them to just get 10, better, more is better. And then display options we won't bother with, no need for a reminder, share them, same stuff. And then that leaves us with one more to do. And that is, of course, our meditation breaks, morning and afternoon. So give this unit a measure of times, as in how many times did you do it, 0, 1, or 2. Duration's great, arbitrary basis, regular, pipe them in, please. Form from meditation's done, a target. Let's say that 0.5 times is the goal from start to finish, the whole 6 weeks through. And that's sort of a weird number, but what that means is if you're a 1, you're above that target, you're slightly in the green. You're 2, you're well into the green. And if you're a 0, you're below that target, you're in the red. Display options, again, we'll just make sure that it always shows between 0 and 2. And this could be fun, toggle between regular and cumulative. Maybe you want to see the running total of how many you've done as the days go by. Same settings down here, no reminders. Make sure the client can see it. No need to send a notification. And with that, we're done. We've got our 3 metrics and our weekly tracker, and it goes out our daily tracker, and it goes out every day. And this is our course. It is now complete and ready to use. So now with our course all ready to use, let's use it. By going back to the home and looking at our course here, we can go to the participants tab and add a participant. We can also do this from any clients page. We're going to add a participant. We're going to add my tester account and put them right in the course starting on day 1 today. By scheduling it, that's it. This is now set in motion at 6 o'clock tonight. John Tester, that's me, will get an email with a notification to do that worksheet, and the metrics will be all set up, and everything will just kind of hum along from there. Now, to have a little fun as coaches, it's often very handy to be able to test things and make sure it all works and that the voice is right and the cadence is right and everything is hooked up correctly. We don't have to wait around for the dispatch times that we've set to do that. We have some extra controls that allow us to quickly play with these things, and we can do that by clicking on this edit icon for the participant. Here we get some controls to modify the participation in the course, and what we want to do here is to fast forward. Let's go forward 1 day, jump to day 2, and we're going to issue any of the course items from that 1 day that we're jumping forward. And indeed, we're going to also send the notifications for those issued course items. This is going to allow us to sort of see what would it be like if we waited 24 hours and the course just played out as it normally would. So we'll click do it. We fast forward, John Tester is now on day 2, and we can see that certain things from day 1 have gone out by clicking on this magnifying glass. We see the details of the course participation. 3 out of 3 metrics have begun, and 1 out of those 42 worksheets is assigned, one that is due today. Now, for a little even more fun, let's actually flip over to the client side of the experience and actually see what it's like for clients who are getting this. We can start from the email of that client, and we see indeed a worksheet has come, a notification of that worksheet, in fact. Click on it, and we get indeed the message that we had set for the notification of the worksheets. That fun little link, okay, let's go. We're gonna click it. It'll automatically log us in and then bring our worksheets up front and center. Here's our daily tracker that we're doing. And let's fill it out real quick. We can just say, got 8, feeling great. Minutes of walking, maybe got in 20. Tell a little story behind it. Meditation breaks, maybe we did them both. Maybe we did only one. Maybe we skipped them entirely. And again, it's telling a little story behind it. We could mess with reminders. We don't need to. We can just mark this complete because we're good. And yep, I'm done. And then that's done. And if we swing over to the metrics tab, we see as client those data points that we just had. There are 3 metrics all filled in, and the data points are here, that 8 with the comment of feeling great, that minutes of walking, we got a comment of brisk and pleasant, and it's all right there. Okay, you're now pretty darn well armed to set these things in motion and kind of design your own thing and make it a really nice experience for your clients. Let's take a moment though, just in case useful, to cover a little sort of fancy tricks, some sort of advanced ideas that might be handy in your design and creation of these tracker courses now or in the future. For an example, one thing that we want to consider is perhaps you want a tracking that only happens on weekdays and not at all on weekends. So let's see what we can do with our course to sort of play with that idea. So real quick, this collapse items, all items thing is really handy to be able to see the overall skeleton or the overall guts of your course. And when you're not actually building the content, it's nice to see what's going on. Let's make it so that the course only runs on weekdays. And now when you do that, we're going to delete things from the weekends effectively. And it now is suddenly really matters what day of the week you start someone in on that program. So we want to make a convention where when you're designing a course timeline, you want to make sure that it always starts on the same day, because that way, day 1 always means, say, a Monday, and then day 6 and 7, and day 13 and 14. Those are always Saturdays and Sundays, and those are the ones that don't have it. So let's look at some of these controls here. We've got this idea of show the timeline as if the course started on. You can start the course in on for any person on any day, a rolling basis for enrollment. But let's see how things lay over the calendar, and let's adopt that convention of Mondays is when it starts. So we click on a Monday, and we see that things are on a Monday. So Monday the 6th, there's day 1, and so on. This isn't required, but you can start it whenever. But that gives you an idea of how things lay over the timeline. And what that means is we want to get rid of the tracker sheet from day 6 and day 7 and on down the line. So now we want to actually enforce a constraint that this course should always start on a Monday. And we'll pick Mondays, and then that becomes the time that it can start on. And then accordingly, this is restricted. It only can start on a Monday. And now we got to delete the ones from Saturday and Sunday. We could do this manually by going through, but here's a quick trick by which to do it. Again, we're going to use that idea of delete all the days, all the repeated items, to sort of go back to a blank slate, and then get to a place where we can again clone down the line exactly as we like. So we go up to our tracker and we clone it, and then we'll again place it 1 day away and do that all the times to cover all the remaining days. And here, skip the weekends. So now hit go, and what we're building here is a calendar where there are items on the weekdays but nothing on the weekends, and that's just what we want. So now when we have this sort of constraint of a course must start on a particular day of the week, we're going to see it in play when we try to add someone to the course. By going here and going to add participant, we see indeed that the begin on course date is a Monday, and it's only a Monday that I can pick. So this is really handy to make sure things line up really well. Now let's play with another item that can be very powerful, and that is to sort of weave in a daily check-in with a weekly one. Maybe there are some things that aren't worth tracking every day, but every week might be meaningful. And here's where it's kind of nice to have already sort of sorted out a convention called the course already starts on a particular day of the week, because then we can say, okay, all the Fridays we should have a check-in for the weekly thing, or maybe it's Sunday, or maybe it's Monday, whatever it is. Again, the start date is important so that the weekly check-in lines up with whatever day of the week they should do it on a weekly basis. Now I'm going to jump ahead and kind of create a worksheet that is going to be a suitable weekly tracker that sort of has some things that are not for every day. I'm just going to cut and paste this in from before, but the same lesson supply of how to design a worksheet. Now we've got some radio items where it's a scale of 1 to 10. We're asking someone to weigh in, and again we've sort of made a comment for this, and another thing, which is another rating. You know, these don't have numbers, but basically if someone picks this, it'll register as a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5. So again, 2 rating metrics that are nice for sort of end of week summary things. And we're gonna again call this done without getting too much into the details, but we again notice that we've got some inputs that are named, and we'll be able to pipe those into metrics. So that's our weekly tracker made in our library. Again, it sits alongside our daily tracker. Both of them can be edited and freely done. We'll go back to our routine tracking course, and let's weave it in. Let's say we want it to be on Fridays, and we'll just kind of plop this down, add it to a new one, do a weekly tracker, and again, this is our template, and we'll keep it that. Maybe we want to assign it at 9 o'clock. Maybe we'll give them the whole weekend to work on it. That's fine. Maybe some reminders. These are all pretty good. And a notification would be appropriate. Something nice in terms of a little link and a message that they'll get. And that will do. You can probably guess what we're going to do now. We're going to clone this on down the line as well. So we'll use our handy clone tool, place it 7 days later. That's perfect to make it a weekly thing. Let's do it multiple times, 6 or 7 days, or 7 times. That'll get us through all the 6 weeks. And sure enough, they clone, and we've got our weekly tracker all woven throughout this course. So now let's get one step fancier and maybe want to say, hey, on those Fridays, when they're doing their weekly tracker and their daily tracker, maybe it'd be nice if they just did one worksheet, and we'll have one worksheet that does them all. So let's quickly do that as well. We'll go back to our library, and maybe we're gonna cook up that weekly tracker to be sort of a merging of the daily stuff and the weekly stuff. So here's our weekly tracker. Let's minimize this and bring up our daily tracker, and we'll just take this stuff for a copy and paste job right into our regular thing. Let's see, we'll put it about. Yeah, something like that. So now we've got a single worksheet that handles both the weekly stuff as well as the daily stuff. So that's our weekly tracker that's kind of merged at the best of both worlds. Back to home, back to our course timeline. And let's have this go out. Well, we don't need the daily tracker on Fridays anymore, do we? Because the weekly tracker, if we see now, it has all our stuff. So we don't want to be redundant, so we'll just delete the daily trackers. We're going to be certain not to delete all the other 25 because we just want to do that one. We just want to actually go down the line and delete the weekly ones or the Friday ones so that it's just one worksheet going to our clients. And so on. You get the idea. We're just sort of weaving through a weekly check-in into the fray, and that's sort of taking the place of our daily check-in on those Fridays. Our weekends are clear, and now we've got sort of a more elaborate tracking regimen that has a daily component and a weekly component that's tracking things that are appropriate for the other things. The only final thing we need to do to finish this out is to create 2 suitable metrics for those 2 types of questions that are asked only in the weekly check-ins. That are these 2 about life balance and how are the rest of you feeling. That's the gist. I won't go into it, but you can kind of see, again, you've got tremendous freedom and flexibility to kind of make whatever cadence you want for whatever kind of tracking you need and have it go as long as you want. Setting into motion is just a few clicks to put your clients into the program, and then it all just kind of pans out, and then those metric charts generate themselves and become a treasure trove of actionable insights in terms of those KPIs and good habits as they're unfolding over the weeks and months of your coaching relationship. I hope this has been useful. Thanks so much for watching.